Hi there, yogis, and thank you for joining me for this tutorial today. We are going to be looking at easy pose, which is what I am doing now. Now, easy pose, also known as Sukhasana, is sometimes quite difficult for people. Many years ago, before I started teaching yoga, I used to do a lot of long distance running and teach a lot of high intensity fitness classes. And because of that, my hips became quite tight, wasn't stretching enough, and a bit of dodgy knees as well. So I persevered with it because I really wanted to teach yoga. So it is possible if you're feeling stiff and it's a hard position to sit in, just persevere with it, practice, and you'll probably get there unless you've got a physical reason, like knees that have had surgery and just aren't going to get any better, or sometimes it might be hips. But other than that, just keep practicing and you'll get there. So it is a nice pose to be able to sit in once you're comfortable with it. So let's dissect it and have a look at it. If you're sitting with your knees up like that, because that's as far as you can get them to the ground, one of the best tips I can give you is to grab a yoga block or a blanket and place it underneath you and sit on that. So that way you're raising your hips up and your knees will naturally be lower than your hip crease. So your hip crease is here. You want to have your knees level with your hip crease or even lower if that's possible for you. All right, so let's just get started with our legs out to the front first. All right, and then we're going to cross them. Let's bring our right leg in front of the left to start with. So we've crossed our legs, walk your feet in a little bit closer to your body, and then just allow your knees to fall down towards the mat so that your legs are resting on your feet. Have a check and see where your hip bones are. Maybe you need to come up a little bit higher, that hip crease. And then from there, we need to elevate ourselves up through the spine. But to start with, we'll just place our hands on our knees and imagine that you've got a heavy weight in your elbows and it's pulling your elbows down, and then lengthen up through the neck. All right. Now from there, we're now going to curl forward. So this is a sort of hunched over position. You're bringing your chin to your chest, dropping your shoulders forward and just rolling your spine a little bit. And we're often in this position during the day when we're reading a book or scrolling through our phone or on our keyboard, or even if you're a cyclist. So what we want to do now is really create some awareness. Feel your sit bones sitting on the mat or your block or your blanket. And then slowly, just from the bottom of the spine, start to push the pelvis forward a little bit. And like you're walking up stairs, with your spine being the stairs, start to roll up so that your chin is the last thing to come up. And hopefully you're doing this with me. Now, weight in the elbows so that the elbows are dragging down, lengthen up through the neck. And then we're in Sukhasana, easy pose. So if that's feeling a bit awkward for you, that's okay. After a while, it starts to get easier. What we want to do is be sitting up nice and tall, not leaning forward, not leaning back. So we've got our head over our heart over our hips. Let's close our eyes for a moment and just take a couple of deep breaths. Creating awareness of the position we're in. Letting go of all other thoughts. See if you can allow the body to relax a little without collapsing. So each time you breathe out, just think of a body part and notice if it's tense or not, perhaps the shoulders. With the next breath out, perhaps the legs. Should be firm through the abdominal muscles, but not pulling in so tight that it's hard to breathe. You'll notice that when we're in this nice erect position, that it is actually easier to breathe than when you're hunched over. and then opening the eyes. So that's the first seated pose. The next one that I will show you is Sukhasana. So it's a little bit different, not a lot. Let's start with our legs out to the front once again. This time we're going to let's bring our left one in first. So we bring the left heel in as close as you comfortably can and line it up with the pubic bone. And then we cross the other foot in front, but we're lining it up with the pubic bone as well. So we haven't got that real crossed over effect. It's only a little bit. So your shins are facing down and the top of the foot is facing down. Bring your hands to rest on your knees. Let's come down into that hunched over position once again. And then slowly start to walk up the steps of the spine, allowing the elbows to weight down, lengthen up through the neck. So the hips are a little bit wider here. It might feel more comfortable for you, or it might not feel comfortable at all. Listen to your body and only do what feels right for you. Perhaps when we sit in this position, you might prefer to sit in the first position, easy pose. Take 3 deep breaths here. And relax. These poses are great poses to sit in meditation if you're feeling comfortable with them. Most of our short meditations in our classes are generally laying down, but you can always sit in one of these poses if you prefer. So that concludes our little tutorial on some of our seated poses, which are quite often where we start or finish. Namaste. See you again soon.